It's a nice beard, RJ.
Oh, thank you.
I know. So proud of RJ's beard. I wish I had the balls to go like that. I only can do that for Burning Man.
Okay. Yeah, I've never really grown it out that long. It's always been short. Like I've pretty much always had a beard, but it's always been trimmed.
Yeah. Well, now you never have to leave the yurt, right? So
exactly.
You just be mountain man.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we are live streaming. You guys want to start with like what we did this week? Get that going, and as people come in, they'll know what's happening and they'll start doing their thing. Okay, so first, our Aragon audit, and so this week I've been really working on pushing communications on the Aragon audit and general coordination. Reviewed Wojtek's awesome post, which got out and actually ended up on like the top of one of the sections in what's his name, Evan Van Ness's weekly Ethereum. So that's pretty cool. Coordinated a bunch of Thailand stuff. I went to some hot springs today. I don't think that counts, but it was fun. And met up with another content creator who's writing some blog posts for us, which is pretty exciting here in Chiang Mai. Dishing out reward DAO points. Worked on the multi-send a little bit, and told all the exchanges about the multi-send. The multi-send is actually working really well. And we sent, in our Robson testnet, we were able to send 13 transactions, and the gas price for each transaction was 14,000 gas. So even from just an account, it saves, if you do about that many, about 33% on gas. So that's pretty cool. And I talked with Swarm City, Aragon, Parity, Colony, Status, TrueBit, a bunch of people about sidechains. Also been talking to a lot of people about the Scaling Now 777 conference that we're going to do. Been, hassling everybody about the milestones and trying to do quality assurance, quality control to make sure we have good milestones to start off this thing with. And just general advising a lot of people about a lot of things. Sorry, that was too long. RJ, what are you up to this week?
This week I cleaned up our servers a bit and kind of migrated some things and shut down some other ones we were running. And it was basically all in preparation for setting up a few different environments. So we'll have like a release environment, a develop environment, and then our production, which is alpha.giveth, and then our the mainnet one that's just kind of hanging around. And then it'll all be like continuously deployed, so any changes we'll be able to instantly test them. And then just continued working on liquid pledging. Have made some good progress on it. There's still a few little things I'd like to clean up, but we're getting close with that. Alex?
Reviewed all of milestones in question, and then worked with Oz on getting a better idea of why MetaMask was not injecting and testing more of it, and I think we're pretty close with it. Should be definitely by the end of this week. Should be at least like reviewable and see if it's acceptable. That's for me. So I guess I don't know who is that. Arthur? If that's you, Arthur, we can't hear you. Shut this door. Just nobody's next.
Arthur's rebooting his computer.
Okay.
Well, no one else wanted to get here early to do the thing. So, hey, RJ, what do you think about Aragon's setup, like for potentially using their control structure for liquid pledging? And I don't know, what do you think? Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Their delegate proxy thing.
Yeah.
I talked to Jordy about it, and we didn't like it because it relies on. So it is cheaper, right, to use that. The disadvantage is it relies on the encoding to always store like the same storage slots. So like Solidity, when it compiles the bytecode, it like sets the storage values into specific slots, and if that ever changes, it'll corrupt. And the other issue is if like it's just riskier to like deploy an upgrade, because it'll, if you like somehow like mess up the way that the storage is ordered in a contract, it'll corrupt the contract because you'll just read the wrong data or overwrite not what you're expecting. So yeah, it's cheaper for sure, but it's riskier, I guess.
You know, I think I forgot to send the link out to everybody. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I had to scroll up a couple of responses to get it.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Test 1 2. Oh, we hear you.
Is it working?
Hey, Kai,
You guys have a weird feedback.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
I think it's just my computer.
All right, Kai, if you want, you can say what you were doing this week. We already started that game.
We did. Okay. Yeah, I finished the wiki overhaul. Should be. I haven't checked GitHub. Should be pushed out already. I met with Rise this week to discuss Ethereum Commons. There is more in the communications meeting if you're interested. What else? Yeah, some usual admin stuff on Rise on YouTube. And I will do some stuff like give feedback on the chat grid and yeah, maybe some other small stuff for the rest of the week. I don't know who did not go or who's new. Satya?
Yeah. You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Where are we in the meeting? I have no idea. Check in? What we did?
Check in what we did.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, excited to be here. This week, I've been filing milestones. Spent a lot of time on that. I've been working on making the milestone process a little bit better. And I'm working on a way to file, attach receipts to milestones, which, yeah, is basically it. So, looking forward to the meeting. And who hasn't gone?
I didn't go. Hi guys, sorry, I'm in a car. So this week I finally was able to push through the post, but it was worth it there. Had a lot of meetings and did some coding, nothing really special. I think we decided some very important stuff yesterday in the product definition meeting. I hoped I actually wrote it down in the notes. I really tried to keep those ones fine. And yeah, that's it.
And Arthur.
Can people hear me without an echo?
We can barely hear you. Really strange.
Check, check, check. Is that better?
Much better. Much better.
Okay.
It works. Just go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. There's something wrong with the audio of my computer. I've used 3 different mics and it's still doing it. So hopefully this is good enough. This week I had a meeting with Aragon on the integration of liquid pledging into their system, so that they can basically not integration of liquid pledging into the system, but the ability to use them as a delegate in that process. We're waiting for them to finish up some stuff with the UI, and then that's pretty much good to go. Scheduled a meeting that should be tomorrow, talking about scaling and some general developer pain points with the people at TrueBit. I did the first meeting for the social coding circle, set up a Lumio for that, which we've got some activity on now. I think there's 12 people that are participating. Trying to ramp that up a little bit more. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but I got the actual Giveth DApp stuff up for the social coding. Did some work tweaking the command line interface that was put together during my last work cycle for basically just executing the transaction for the multisig once we have all the information that we want to do for milestones. So the way it works is it's just pulling the events, and then using the events, it's giving you a string right now, but eventually it'll actually give you a transaction for the multisig. And then like a few other
And he's gone.
Yep, go for it, Edu. It's if you want to say what you did this week.
Hi. Well, this week I've been in the Aragon meeting too. I did my first audit, code audit, and I've been working on the personal server mainly. So that is all for me. So the next, I don't know who is the next.
I think that's everyone, right? Is there anyone else who's signed in? I think that's it. So let's do a quick check-in. I'm distracted by all the audio and visual issues that everyone's having these days with Jitsi. All of a sudden, it has really reduced its quality for us, and I'm also really excited about this meeting. I have a couple of proposals, and excited to kick it out. Sasha.
Yeah, I was also looking forward to this meeting. I don't have any distractions. I was hoping that everybody would be here and knew about the new time, but unfortunately, well, a lot of people showed up, so that's good. Looking forward to the meeting. So, Kai.
Yes, I'm also looking forward to the meeting. Trying to find the notes at the moment. If you can post them, Arthur, I help you during your speeches. And other than that, I'm not distracted. And yeah, nice to see you guys. RJ.
I'm a little distracted, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to a quick meeting, or a productive meeting at least. Yeah, Alex?
I'm not distracted, and I'm really excited about this meeting and getting some of the agendas done. It's going to be awesome. Edu.
I'm not distracted. I'm excited about the meeting too. I like the new time. For me, it's better. This is all. What's up, Arthur? Is Arthur here?
Yeah, hi, hopefully this is better. I'm also massively distracted by the Jitsi thing. That's something that at this point I think would be worth looking into. Intentions for the meeting. I can't wait to hopefully get this, the whole conversion thing handled. That's very exciting to me. And then other than that, just hope it goes smoothly. Is that everybody?
No, I didn't go. So I'm not distracted, even though I'm in car, but I'm paying full attention. And I'm excited about the topics, especially the Satya's topic, and also about the exchange rate topic. And whoever didn't go can go.
Who hasn't gone? Okay, I'm going to say we got everyone. And for logistics, unfortunately, Chris couldn't make it to.
Oh man, this ditches.
Hey, but Arthur's still there.
Some people just are lucky.
Yeah, I guess.
Like yesterday, I was the unlucky one.
On the same connection.
All right.
Maybe he can hop over to one of your guys' computers.
Is mine
Are
actually
you
working?
are you all guys using the website, or is
We don't hear
someone,
you.
like, hello? Can you hear
I
me?
think it helps. Everybody turns off his video. Please turn off your video.
I can hear most of you guys. I think it's maybe the Bangkok guy at the Chiang Mai situation. Too many computers in the apartment. Arthur has great connection.
But we should have.
Yeah, you don't.
We have.
It shows. It shows red for you, Sachin.
No, but your
You
voice
are like
is
a
terrible.
robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Did you smoke?
Like 400 packs a day.
Make you sound like a robot.
But you usually have a problem with your voice or with your mic.
It seems to be the Surface, but maybe my Surface Book is something wrong with the mic. Yeah, I realized.
Well, it was developed by Microsoft. What can you expect?
What can you do? Is this what are we doing now? Waiting for Chris? Or
Yeah.
he's here?
I just told Griff that he wasn't heard and he cut out, so he refreshed and should be joining us shortly.
Okay, maybe we should put all the agenda topics already. I don't know if anybody's making notes.
Yeah. I showed them in the Jitsi.
So maybe everybody can speak up his mind about agenda topics. I have 3 topics. 1 is payment, 2 is legal, and 3 is Give It Meetup.
Exchange rate.
Yeah, exchange rate. Yeah.
All right, so I have payment, legal, giveth meetup, exchange rate. Anything else?
Chris apparently has 2. I don't know if he posted them, and I think Griff has 1 at least.
I didn't see Chris. He asked you to pick them
He
up,
posted
right?
them in Slack.
It's Slack.
Yeah, please check it. I'm still on the phone. I can't really look.
Oh yeah, so he has also the Give It Meetup. That is his first tension, and the other one is we need to increase our credibility online as a team. That is his second one. They're in Slack.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I told him. Is my mic working at this point, or is it still dicey?
You're
We
fine.
hear you.
Okay, cool.
Your mic's working, and I'm back. Can we get did all the agenda topics come up?
Yours are missing. Can you turn off your video? It really helps.
Yeah. I don't know if these were mentioned, but exchange rates and triple checking.
Both separate?
Yeah, separate. Okay, I'm checking out the notes. Okay.
I have
but I don't think it's mission critical, so I'm going to put it off until next week for the sake of time.
Okay. Well, let's start with payments.
Yeah, so that's me. Yeah, so my tension is I didn't get paid for a long time, and I think everybody didn't get paid, and we are working hard on it. But and I understand that there are like startup issues, and we want to do everything really cool, and we had to switch to testnet. But I really also feel that it is like really fake when there's not. It's out of my control, and that really annoys me. I don't know how I can help speed it up. I don't know when it's going to be paid, or when we are going to be paid. So, and I don't know who is responsible or who is the lead for this. So I would really like somebody to take the lead in this and make like a deadline. Like on this day, we're gonna accomplish the payments. And maybe somebody knows this information, but I really have no clue, and it really annoys me. So my proposal is, I don't know what to propose, basically. I just want to have some clarity.
I think your proposal is a budget circle.
Or
Yeah,
or a lead,
well,
right?
Or
Yeah.
just delegate it to a pre-existing lead or something.
But I have no idea who is doing what. So it is, for me, very unclear at the moment. It does. I don't know if somebody has some more information about who is working on the payments. I know that people are triple checking stuff. We got milestones in the system. So can we set a date? Like if I say, okay, let's propose next week, end of next week, we all get paid.
Okay. Clarifying questions. I got one. How do you propose we all get paid?
I don't know. I mean, we just make transactions, right?
Okay.
Preferably our own system, but yeah, for me, I think it doesn't really. People can live with a delay, but at least for me, I want to have some clarity on, and I also think it takes too long, but I have no idea why it takes long and how we can speed it up. And yeah, I would like to help, but I don't know how to help.
Okay. Any other clarifying questions? Reaction round. Who wants to start?
I'll start. So I think once we get the first payment out for this is going to go a lot smoother. I am optimistic about the idea of being able to get them out within the next week. I think that getting the exchange rate locked down in this meeting is going to be a major step towards that. And I don't know how much more we have as far as issues in this. I would be open to the idea of somebody taking responsibility for this, but not bringing somebody on to do so. I think it's something that's relatively small going forward. So if we were going to expand it or make it a role, it should be something that somebody that's already doing stuff takes on as a small thing that they chicken on like once a week or something.
Got 15 minutes.
Oh, all right, Kai.
Yes, I think we have a circle, that's the governance circle, and there should be, I'm strongly in favor of somebody overseeing the payment process, at least for the coming weeks. So we can be sure this is handled in a better way. I think because this cross communication and not having a lead and somebody dictating kind of this is the steps everybody has to follow has created some confusion, additional confusion. As to who that could be, I want to mention Jen was in charge of the payouts before. She doesn't have an official role. I talked to her this week, and she would be open, I think, to taking a new role, and maybe we should consider her for this. And I also think getting the exchange rate locked will help us. An additional point is that's okay. Who has not gone? Oz is very new in the discussion.
Hi guys. Well, thanks Satya for sharing the tension. Because I think it's something that everyone feels. I think Griff has spent like a couple of the last few meetings, also kind of bringing up this tension on people's behalf, and he, it's clearly stated that if anyone reached out to him, he would subsidize the lateness, the delay or whatever. But I get the idea that it's still frustrating, not to have a kind of like more global solution or a solution for the whole group. And so, yeah, I'm not sure if I have any suggestions except for no suggestions. I mean, we're dog fooding it, and so it's kind of a sacrifice to do it. And maybe but yeah, we are making progress. So in that sense, I mean, it's grueling, but I think it's working. But yeah, it'd be nice if it went a little faster, or if someone could help out in that way. Yeah, I guess I have nothing else to offer. So let me just pass it along to Wojtek.
So yeah, I also don't have really much to say. I think the problem is clear. We should fix it as soon as possible. But I like the idea of a person who is not going to be dedicated to this, but who you can contact and who you can ask. So some sort of a lead. And I go with, I see RJ here.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add. I mean, I know he said he would help give people ETH or whatever if they need, but I don't think that's really an acceptable solution. I think we are working on it. But that's all I have to add. Griff?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is an acceptable solution because the problem is people aren't getting money, and I am willing to bet on these milestones getting paid out with an interest-free loan in case anyone needs a payment. Of course, we want to get these things out as soon as possible, but I think that we're forgetting that this is the first action that we're doing with our new dApp. And if we end up with milestones that are of the same date but have different exchange rates, or people are getting paid too much and then not paid enough and our books are off, like these small little issues could cascade out of control. And I'm in a project where we went too fast and we got hacked for $50 million. I don't see that as an issue here, but at the same time, I'm very hesitant to go too fast. We don't need to go too fast. That's how shit gets fucked up in crypto, and I'm not doing it again. So, like I also think we have a lot of like pivoting that we just did, and it's only been like 2 weeks really, so that we've been able to start doing milestones and reviewing. And guess what? I saw this in the DAO as well. There's there's lots of bugs in our software. Like Oz couldn't log in because a C within his private key was, as his key file, was capitalized instead of lowercase. So he couldn't approve milestones. We also had to deploy the multi-send, which Quasia kicked ass to do. Like he was working for days on end, and there was a lot of testing and a lot of work to push that out. That being said, it's still not ready yet. It still needs to be tested a little bit further. We had milestones that didn't add up. And I don't know, I feel like I said, that could cascade out of control if we don't do this right. If someone wants to go faster, like you guys can totally overrule me here. I'm only one signature on the multi-sig. But because there hasn't been really a lead, I've been kind of taking the lead on it, even though I'm probably not the best person for it, but I have been taking it under control because no one else is saying, hey, I want to do the accounting stuff. So I am getting a personal assistant here tomorrow, so that should help a lot. And maybe then it'll be easier for me to take that lead for officially. And I'd be open to that. I definitely think whoever it is will be working in the governance circle. It's clearly the spot. Yeah, I think we're pretty close. The next steps are clear to me, and I've written them out in all the chat channels. So I'm kind of like frustrated that I don't know if you're not reading the chat or what's going on. I haven't. Only 3 people have helped to triple check to make sure like everyone just wants the milestones to go out, but they're not. The only people who are helping are RJ, Quasia, Alex, and Jen checked one. And Chris and Kai are working to fix the exchange rate stuff. So the next steps are clear to me. It's making sure Kai gets an approved milestone that makes all the numbers work out so that he's getting the exact amount of ether he should, even though it's coming out in the wrong amounts in separate milestones. At least the send is all clean and he gets the right amount. And same, Chris has fixed his. So that's one. He's got to get that milestone approved. The step after that is running a script to add all the other ones that have been approved so that we can do a multi-send for all those transactions at once. And so we run the script to see what transactions need to go through. The third step will be triple checking that there are no issues with those things, because I don't trust anyone as a reviewer because it's everyone's first time as a reviewer. So I want to have quality control because we're putting out a website. These are the first milestones we had. I don't want typos. I'm hoping we can have before the milestone is paid out, we have good incentives to make sure the milestones look good. And so once they're triple checked and the numbers match and the milestones have a high quality assurance, then we test the multi-sig with a send on the main net for like a small amount manually. And then once that test has gone through and it works, and we've also tested on testnet, then we actually make the send with the multi-sig. So those are the steps to making it happen. And then we're good. So let's see, I think Edu?
Yes, I think I don't have nothing more to add. I know that the delayment on the payment is annoying, and I know it's important the quality of the DApp. Maybe a lead or a roadmap is enough for some of the people. For me, right now, it's not a problem. So I open to other options that you want to explore. So it's all. Alex?
All right, so I agree with Griff that we shouldn't rush the DApp and deployment of milestones into production without extensive testing, because that's how major issues occur. And you get things like Apple fixing a bug, but then reintroducing a major bug back into their code base that makes their laptops super hackable. That is something that concerns me greatly, and I think that we need some more testing. But also, I have a clarifying question to everybody. Everybody wants some point of contact for the progress on getting all these milestones out, but I'm not really hearing a direct want, except for one of that everybody wants someone to ask questions about. I think I would like everybody to kind of quantify what they would like to see that happen. And also I would volunteer myself for that role to be point of contact for that. But I do think that it is frustrating that payments haven't gone out, but it is necessary to test a lot and to make sure that it's ready and not just push it out blindly. I think that is everything I have for now. So I guess Arthur or Satya? No, it's not to everyone. Yeah, whoever hasn't gone then.
Has everyone gone?
Looks like it.
Okay. Sasha, amend and clarify.
Yeah, so I think the issue is more in communication and making, like, this is the first time that I hear this roadmap that Griff explained. Maybe I was late to the discussion, I don't know, but it's also this riot. I mean, it would be good to have like maybe a checklist or like a roadmap with dates, or it can be whatever, and somebody maintains that and maybe, yeah, if Alex, if you want to do that, I think you can be the right person for that. I would personally also would like, if there's a roadmap, then other people can also help. At least I would like to help, triple check or whatever needs to be done. I think we were talking yesterday in the products group about maybe in a month onboarding some projects, or at least starting with that. So we need this. I think this is one of our highest priorities. So I really hope we can do this together. And I think, yeah, if Alex, if you're up to it and you can at least take the lead in like keeping an overview of this and communicating this, because to me it's more a communication problem than I know it's all the technical issues. I mean, I understand, but it's just that there's no clarity on the progress. That's my main issue, basically. And I think for other people, maybe that's the same issue. It's like, okay, what's happening with the payments? Nobody knows. And maybe nobody knows because it's a technical stuff that we need to solve. But at least we can keep like some kind of roadmap and progress and communicate that. So my proposal is, if Alex wants to do this, then I would like him to take up this role. And yeah, I hope he can. And if he doesn't want to do it, I can also do it. I will talk to everybody and set it up. But he offered it, so that's my and everything I have to say.
So the new proposal is Alex takes the role of point person on payments. Any objections? Yes. Sold! Congratulations, Alex. You're definitely officially in the governance circle now.
All right.
Okay. What's the next topic? I'm sorry, I lost the
legal.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so that's also my thing. So my tension is that one of the comments that we hear the most is that I want to donate, but we don't get tax cuts, and we are basically missing out on donations because people that have either, they also want to have tax cuts on the profits that they make, and on the other reason why this is important to talk about, if we want to work with charities that are companies, then and we want to be taken seriously, then we need to have some kind of legal status. Now, my proposal is not to, I don't think we need to have a legal status right now, but I think we need to start researching it and preparing it and figure out what the options are. And I'm not sure, my proposal would be to maybe set up a campaign or a milestone. I'm not sure about either one of them. And I would like to start at least contacting some charity-oriented law firm to see to get some advice, some initial advice, like, okay, how can we solve those issues, and what would it take to get us there? And then based on that information, we see how we continue forward. But I think we should start thinking about it. Reactions? Questions?
Questions.
I have one. So I think for the legal status of like people getting tax write-offs for donating Ether or potentially having like their company match, we need to, I think, figure out, do we want to do it in a specific country? Like, where would most of the donors come from? And do we think we should do that in a specific country?
Well, that's a good question. I think we should be a platform provider where the charity provides the tax cut directly to the donation, and then we just make that possible. But that is one of the questions we have to figure out. Yeah, how to do that.
All right. I have a question. In order to be a platform provider that's connecting individuals to entities that already have their own tax structure or tax cuts in place, what aspects of the system would need to be a legal entity? Like, for example, there's 4 circles. Would all of the 4 circles be part of one legal entity, or how do you envision that being structured?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's what we have to figure out.
Right.
Yeah, that are the questions that we have to start thinking about and figure out what is the best and smartest way to do this. But it's a good question.
I have a clarifying question, because the proposal is sort of abstract. Do you propose a person who would take a lead, or do you propose to create a circle? But I also want to do a reaction, and that is, I think whoever wants to receive money needs to be a legal entity, I guess. But sorry, the question, clarifying.
Yeah, maybe a circle would be good. It could be part of the governance circle, but somebody should take the lead. I'm happy to take the lead in this, because I find this important to start spending time on. So I can start searching around and get some initial contacts. So if that would be my proposal. Nothing specific yet. We don't have to attach a budget to it. I think the first step is just orientation to see what are options. And yeah, I would like to start that, I guess. So that's the proposal, concrete. Timeline is end of February. We have a more specific idea of how to continue.
Any other clarifying questions?
Yes, I have one more I thought of. So, are we talking about donations to us or donations to charities?
I think they're both important to figure out, yeah. But I think, yeah. I think we should research both.
Okay. Any other clarifying questions? Reaction round, and I want to react because I have been the legal lead for this entire time. And we have, in my opinion, a coherent strategy, which is to avoid the support issues that go into trying to onboard people who don't accept Ether and can't work with Ether, which are basically all these charities. Because if you look at the system that we're working with today, and you look at the entities that are in the blockchain space, the major issue for all these exchanges is support. Anybody who's user-facing has more support employees than any other sector, and support issues will kill us. They'll create a poor user experience. They will be very heavy and very time-consuming, and it has been basically the strategy for the next 6 months. I am hoping it has been relatively consistently communicated that we're probably going to stick with either single entities, like one person who knows how to deal with crypto on their own, or blockchain-based communities that can deal with their own key management, know how to. We don't have to onboard them onto MetaMask. We don't have to do all these things that we do with our own crew, and it takes a lot of time and is difficult sometimes. So, and then when people lose money and there's issues because they don't know how to work with crypto, like that gets really, really hard. So we have a lot of bugs to work out before we start going after big charities. And we need to get our system working. And I think we're putting the cart before the horse on this one. So I don't see a need to dive into that when our first user base actually thinks it's really cool that we don't have a legal entity. In fact, when I say that to Ethereum people, their eyes light up because we're a blockchain-based entity. And I'm really proud of that. And that's a really important thing for me. And until we actually are looking at onboarding somebody, I think it's good to do the research. And I don't want to dismiss any motivation to do that research because it is research that needs to be done. However, the legal landscape might change in the next 6 months for a lot of these things. And the legal landscape in the blockchain space is very ambiguous. So I know with Alice, for instance, I did some research and talked with the St. Mungos, who they funded. St. Mungos actually said that they lost money working with Alice because they had to onboard somebody who got paid $20,000 to work with them for 6 months. And Alice raised $15,000 for them. And so they, as an organization, actually lost money. And that is really sad and pathetic. And I don't want to go out like that. But that's what has to happen when you have to onboard a bunch of people to a whole new world that they're not familiar with. So until there is better fiat to Ether gateways around the world, and I think that the world will catch up to us and make our life easier. But until then, we're going and talking I know we're starting to put a lot of effort into Amnesty International and the UN and these kind of guys. But the big ones where we get big response and where we have the real network is within the Ethereum community, and being a non-legal entity helps us there. And being a non-legal entity doesn't stop us from helping people who are legal entities and want to do 501c3 donations. Our system makes that so easy because we automate the accounting and we know who is donating to who, and we can automatically, we could easily write some code that would automatically distribute a tax write-off to anybody whose donation ends up with a 501c3 company or whatever the designation is in other countries. So, and people could say, hey, they could tell their delegate, hey, I only want my money to go to someone who's 501c3 or something like that in my country so I can get a tax write-off in my country. Because again, we're working with this huge international organization. Maybe the tax write-off won't work for some people because this is a nonprofit in the UK and they're from Mexico or wherever, The other piece is, I don't know why anyone thinks that we're short on money. We have so much money. We don't need to do anything to get more donations. We just don't. We have money coming out our ears, and we have a clear revenue stream that is, maybe it's not well communicated, but we audit, the White Hat Group basically audits contracts, and Giveth gets a huge cut. MakerDAO gave us 125 Ether. That's 125 grand. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to do just fine. And when people can actually start donating to real projects or to us directly and see where their donation is going, I think it'll be even better. It'll be a lot easier to ask for donations as well. Also, when we start doing a lot of the work that Arthur is doing with social coding, I think we'll get us a lot of Ether donations. And the Ether whales, most of them are not looking for tax write-offs. So Okay, those are my reactions. Just to review 3 points. I think we're too early to be approaching charities that can't handle Ether. So that's a non-issue. I think it's really cool that we're a blockchain-based entity for our main customer base and our main audience that we're best networked with, which is the Ethereum community. And I think that we are not hurting for donations, and it's really easy with the system that we have in place right now for a 501c3 or nonprofit organization to give tax write-offs to the people who donate to them. Okay. How about Wojtek?
Great. So I don't think that the original discussion was about onboarding big charities, so I will not react on that one. But I do think that it makes sense for us or for part of Giveth to become a legal entity for 2 reasons. One is to be able to receive donations from those who actually want the tax cut. And second, to make things easier when it comes to paying people. I think that those are 2 things that should be investigated. I'm not saying we need to go for them, but should be investigated. As for doing some support for charities or something like that, I don't think anything changes whether we become legal entity or not. We just basically develop a system as is without any guarantees, and we put the responsibility on the entities themselves. That's my reaction. But I think that we should start investigating such thing, because half a year is nothing in this space. How about Edu?
Well, for me, I think that at least it's important to be informed, to know the problems and the solutions. I see the point of Griff, but I agree more with Wojtek, because not to be a legal entity maybe cause problems to the people to donate, and to the final aim, that is make communities around cause. So for me, it's important to be at least informed about the problem and the options. So it's my opinion. Next one, Artie.
I don't think it hurts to research it. I think it's probably a good idea to research it. I think the other thing is we have circles, and so one circle can become a legal entity, and it doesn't have to be Giveth. It can be like its own legal entity using the Giveth platform, whatever. And they help develop Giveth, or however you want it to go. So I don't think it has to be a whole. I guess I think that's like the nice thing about circles is some people can be a legal entity if they want to do that, while others don't have to be. Yeah, that's all. That's all I will add. Oz.
Hi, did you say Oz?
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Griff said touched on a lot of things, but in terms of specifically the legal thing, I agree with the more research, and I also like the decentral thing RJ brought up. I think I do like the idea that Giveth is just a blockchain entity, but just like Swarm City does, that, and other people, I'm sure, it doesn't mean we can't set up other legal organizations to help us out in different ways that we need. And in fact, this is actually, I think, the most interesting part of this kind of space right now, this real problem of like how you contend with the legal and the crypto world. And I think Grace is, like huge into this, but it's like, yeah, we need to, essentially there's the technology side, which is what we're, working on right now and is the most important thing. But then there's also this other, like, how do we lead people into the space side? How do we wrangle with these, like that, all that stuff is going to take time. So we might as well start the research now. But at the same time, I think what I got from Griff a little bit was this reality check. it doesn't mean that, everything's not possible, but it does change things in terms of like, we need to lead. Anyone who works in our system is going to have to be handheld. Obviously, we have to handhold ourselves right now. And it's going to be a while before someone doesn't need to be handheld, and I'm sure we'll get there. But pretending like that's not the case, like not every single user isn't going to need to be handheld for a while, isn't really isn't realistic. But yes, definitely support the research for legal stuff. So let me pass it on to Arthur.
If a circle decided that they wanted to do legal research, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But at the same time, I don't think it makes sense for social coding to be a legal entity. Alex?
All right, so I think that we should research some options that help us maintain a non-legal entity status, but that we could tell people as some sort of advice. Something like, if you donate 1 Ether to us or an individual or a group on our platform, that 1 Ether counts as a loss, which is like a tax deduction, but not really. But then, of course, preface it with it's not official legal advice or investment advice, just like many people say on their YouTube videos that talk about cryptocurrencies and whether they think they're going up or down. That way, it's easy to keep in alignment with not being a legal entity and having the complications that comes with that, but also giving people some sort of reference point that they can then maybe go ask their legal counsel. With that, I think I'll pass it on to Kai.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, we have this discussion every few months, it seems. I think it's a very interesting idea to research. I would be very interested if there is maybe something coming up to give some, I don't know, some connection to traditional systems. But, to be legitimized by blockchain is for me one of the biggest and coolest thing. I just say coolest. It really impresses me that this thing about Giveth. I would not like to lose it. I also want to say that I don't see why. I mean, this whole space, everything basically, like a blockchain itself, is not a legal entity or not in a traditional system. They are pretty much accepted. I don't see anyone coming to Luke Dash Jr. and giving him something about Bitcoin, or like just one example. So this is used everywhere, and it's unstoppable because of its decentralized nature. So this would be maybe a positive thing about not being a traditional entity. I'm not so sure about the real tech stuff, but I do think that if there was a company that's a nonprofit and they would have operate as a DAC, that if you donate to them, you would indeed get a tax cut. So I think that would be possible. If we can make that process easier, well, great. So to sum it up, I think, yeah, let's look into it. Maybe have even a plan B but to be honest, I don't think this should really be a problem at the moment, because the space we are working in is really funded on those principles. Not maybe Ethereum because of the foundation, but Bitcoin. That is all I have to say. Is there anybody left? I don't think so.
Okay, so amend and clarify, Satya? Satya?
Sorry, was muted. So yeah, a lot of passion and emotions here. I will stand with my proposal to continue researching this. I think we have to start at least figuring it out. And Griff has been the legal lead, but as he is opposed to researching this further, I propose that I will start picking up this aspect of the legal research. Yeah, I can propose it, right?
Yeah, I object to the idea that I'm against research. I am not against research.
All right, cool. So, then my proposal is?
I do object a little bit to the idea that our main front end dev should be working on that when our DApp isn't done. I would just propose a slight change that maybe we move Grace to this topic, as she's also very interested in it.
Yeah.
And she could push ideas forward and work with you. At least take some of the burden off your shoulders. So
I can personally live with that. I think Grace is a very good candidate for this. So then my proposal is that I will ask Grace to pick this up, and she will let us know if she accepts that or not.
Any objections? So sold. Okay. Exchange rate. Oh, okay. Did this get proposed by Wojtek as well, or?
I put it on there.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so did I as well.
So I don't know. I'll just do it. It'll be short. I propose, or the tension is the exchange. People use different exchange rates for their milestones. The proposal is to use the EthereumPrice.org for everything up until this Friday, and from now on out, or from Friday out, to use the spreadsheet that Wojtek made. Any clarifying questions?
Is that include the expenses?
Yeah, I would say everything.
Okay. Any other clarifying questions?
I have one. Well, what's the driving factor between using Coinbase's API on the spreadsheet instead of Ethereum prices? Is there any advantage or disadvantage to using either?
Maybe Wojtek can speak to that in a reaction round, because I don't know what exact APIs he used. However, I just think we should have one. Like, that one's easier than everybody going to EthereumPrice.org, using and like moving their mouse to get the right thing. So like just using an API is what I would propose. So maybe Wojtek can react. Any other clarifying questions?
Nope.
All right. Okay. Wojtek, let's start your reaction then.
Okay. So yeah, I did use Coinbase because I tried to use 2 other APIs. There was a problem with Google Sheets. It didn't work, but I didn't try well enough. The one that I really wanted to use and has the most functionality is, wait, I posted it somewhere.
I think in Git, maybe.
Yeah. It was on the issue, right? Give of progress, and it was CryptoCompare, and that has an aggregator value. Plus, it also, you can specify which exchange you want, and you can also specify time. So I actually wanted to have that discussion first. What API should we use? Yeah, and that's it. But I have nothing against the proposal. Maybe the one was that we decided to do The expenses with the sheet, but the Friday, even until now, but the Friday regular rewards would be from the ethereumprice.org. Yeah, and I didn't use that one because that doesn't have API, by the way. So I go with Alex.
EthereumPrice.org has an API if you dig deeper into it that they pull from, and that's how they get their data. And you can use the API that they use to get data. But I like the one that you wanted to use in the first place. So I think that we should try a little bit harder to do that and get that API working. And also that we should use one practice for regular rewards and reward DAO and expenses. So all money flowing out of Giveth, I think, should be calculated the same way and not have differences. That way we can programmatically get it and have it be a consistent way of doing it so that people don't get confused if they are trying to calculate the regular reward and then trying to also calculate the reward DAO or their expenses. And with that, I'll pass it on to Oz.
Cool. Sounds like a great proposal to me. And I will pass it on to Arthur.
Okay. So I'm almost positive that Ethereum Price uses the Crypto Compare API. Did you try the Min API?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
There was some issues. Yeah, the JSON sort of did format it incorrectly and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. It would be cool if we could move to that, but if it doesn't work, I think it's more important to have something that's working. And I think I don't know how good of an idea is to start using one and then move to another. So I guess that would be my apprehension. I think at this point it's just important to pick something. So if the Coinbase is working, I'm all in favor of moving forward with that. I will yeah, crosstalk. That's funny. Yeah, I'll pass it to Griff.
Oh, hello, Echo. Sorry. Yeah, so a couple things. Let's see. I really don't care about the exchange rate as long as there's one. I think it's important. I think it's important to note we had a great fireside chat yesterday where we kind of came up with a brainstorm session where all the expenses from previous time were always being calculated through a different API than EthereumPrice.org. So we had a different exchange rate for those guys. And there are a lot of unpaid expenses that need to go into the milestone campaign. And so, into the migration campaign. And there are so many random dates that it seems efficient to continue the strategy that we had before, even though it is slightly flawed, and just use Wojtek's sheet for expenses. But then for regular rewards and reward DAO, that we use EthereumPrice.org until we agree upon the spreadsheet. I personally think that this is one of the big issues slowing us down on the first issue that was brought up, which is delayed payments. This exchange rate issue is like a real drag on us, and it hurts quality control. So I'm hoping that we can just go with whatever works. Coinbase is a very good API to use. They make sure it works, and they have a real exchange and real volume, and they deal with real fiat currency. Unlike, for instance, Bitfinex, which uses Tether and other guys. So I actually think Coinbase is a great price oracle. and I have used CryptoCompare for my trading sheet, and it like sucks sometimes. Like it goes down sometimes. That might be a problem with Coinbase too, but just one notch against CryptoCompare. And then, yeah, so in summary, I really like the idea that we solidify our choice to use the spreadsheet for everything going forward, and going with Coinbase's API. That would be my vote, because it works right now, and not if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Coinbase is fine. And that we go like tomorrow, we have some milestones to pay out, and we use the spreadsheet for everything. But for everything previous, we use the EthereumPrice.org prices, which I listed a couple times in the Give It to Multisig chat on Riot, for the regular rewards and the reward DAO. And the expenses, we use the spreadsheet that Wojtek made for those expenses that have never been proposed to the DApp, but anything proposed to the previous DApp, we just stick with whatever the exchange rate and evidence was for it there. So that's a lot of things, but there are a lot of moving parts there. How about Kai? And Kai, could you tell me in your reaction the status on finding a milestone that corrects the small change?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about the APIs. I looked at CryptoCompare. It looked nice. I think stability is the main thing to look for. So Coinbase might be one of the most stable ones because they have a large operation. For the milestone, yeah, I did. I still have this one. Maybe we can cross-talk a little. Oz, you wanted to reject my milestone, but you approved it, right?
Oh shit! No, I pressed reject. Did it approve? Oh, that didn't approve. Let me check it.
Yeah, so that's the last thing. This one should be canceled. Then everything is in order for me.
So
and,
you have wait.
Yeah.
So you have an approved milestone that corrects the amounts?
Is it approved? Wait a second. It is proposed. It is proposed.
Who is the reviewer?
Quasia.
And is it to the migration campaign?
No, it's my last milestone for communications.
Okay, so Chris needs to approve it. Chris
Right.
needs to accept it.
Maybe.
Arthur needs to approve it. Is that correct?
Yeah. So and there is still this one where Oz, I only have the option to mark complete now, and this should have been canceled. So I don't know.
Oz can cancel it. Whoever's the reviewer can cancel it.
It's not showing up in my DApp, but yeah, like I can get with you afterwards.
Yeah,
Sajak
please.
can also cancel it because he's the campaign reviewer, I think.
Chris should be that, but he's on the way to Thailand. Maybe you guys can help him when he comes. So, but I'm not opposed to using the sheet. Let's use the sheet. I would suggest though that every Friday we just make a row for that and call this like the official. This Friday has this rate, so we are not confused on at least this thing where I don't want milestones from the circle to have different price articles. That's very important. Who didn't go? RJ.
My proposal.
I didn't go.
Satya, yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on integrating that API in the milestone creation in the DApp, so that we don't need a sheet, and I think that will be ready like next week, and then we have to test it, and then you can just file the amount of euro or dollar or pounds, and then it will calculate the ether, and everybody will use the same API, and Feathers will probably also check it. And then, because also the other projects that will start using Giveth will have the same problem. So we thought we would make a solution within the DApp itself using whatever API we want to we plan to use in the sheet. So that's just my reaction. One more thing, I have to go. So in about 2 minutes. That's it. Anybody didn't go?
Me, for example.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, I agree with the proposal. I think it's important to have reference of the price. It's very, very important. And about the API, I think that is a decision of the developers for me. I think that critical pair is fine, but maybe developers have another option, another preferences. And in this case, I think the final decision is for the developers. So RD or Wojtek is the guys that they have the final choice for me.
Okay, I think that's everybody, right?
Yep.
All right. Amended proposal is the spreadsheet will stay the same with Coinbase API because it's stable. If you wanted to convert it to fiat, that is what you would use, and it's already working. So don't invest the time to fix it. From any new expenses, any expenses that still need to be created as milestones, we'll use the spreadsheet. Everything like expenses, reward DAO, regular rewards from Friday going forward, we'll use the spreadsheet, and reward DAO and regular rewards from up until Friday, we'll use ethereumprice.org.
One small objection. Can we make, or not, it's not really objection or integration. Can we make sure this sheet is public and viewable by everyone and announced on a public channel like ASAP? Add that to the proposal so that people can see where we're getting our exchange rates.
Yes, we that is added to the proposal. We'll announce it and make it public. Any objections?
I can announce it too, if you guys want.
Okay, proposal passed.
Proposal passed. Okay, next proposal is triple checking. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this a quick one. I won't go on. Basically, QA/QC is important to me. We're all doing this for the first time. I've made a spreadsheet for triple checking milestones, and I want to use it until we get past, until we've done it right the first time, all the way through. And then we can get rid of the triple checking, and I can trust that the reviewers know what they're doing. Yeah, well, the tension is our milestones creation has sucked so far. So the proposal is we use this triple checking spreadsheet, which might adapt just a little bit more, and then until we get it right the first time for a multi-send, all the way through, and then I'm happy to retire it if everyone wants to retire it.
Clarifying question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, clarifying questions.
I was wondering if you could, if it'd be appropriate to quickly show us the spreadsheet. I look at the spreadsheet, but it kind of confuses me. I haven't really seen how I'm supposed to contribute to it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I have to. I had to move.
The right person.
No. Do you have the spreadsheet open?
Yeah.
Can you share screen and we can all click your screen?
Yes. Hold on. Oh, damn you, Brave.
I know. No, that's exactly what happened to me. Someone else have the spreadsheet open? We can show it. Is anyone working on it?
Let me go back. I'm switching over to Chrome now, so maybe that'll.
I can't switch to Chrome because my Chrome, I think, has too many tabs. I had to kill it. But basically, the spreadsheet from my memory has the address and the amount of Ether that's supposed to get, and the amount of Wei. That's where the amount of Ether is derived from. But the amount of Wei does this magical thing of Wei. Well, first I'll start off with the multi-send spits out some data. So when Quasia runs the multi-send thing, he can spit out a CSV file. I use that to generate the data for, and that CSV file is derived. I would prefer that it was derived from the actual parameters. It's not derived from the parameters, but what I do is we tested on Ropsten that the parameters match the CSV file. And then I put the CSV file into this thing. And if the CSV file, oh yes, who is that?
Oz.
Okay, so if you click, even though I'm talking, if you actually click Oz's box to the right, then you can see the spreadsheet the whole time. So all the data is generated from the CSV file, which I checked before I put it in here by doing a real Ropsten send with the parameters that are existing, right? And what I want is for the receiving address check that the person who is receiving, I don't think we did it this time, but to me, unless if it's a core person who's on the multi-sig, the person who is receiving needs to sign their name there that they have actually checked it. And checker 1, checker 2, these are people who reviewed the milestone. It can be the reviewer, that's fine, it doesn't matter, but I want at least 2 people reviewing each milestone because I don't trust that we're good reviewers yet. And if we have 2 people doing it that are willing to sign their name on that this is a milestone that they'd be proud to have on their website and doesn't have, this is like, obviously doesn't have mathematical errors of amounts and all the amounts match, but also, and the address matches, but also that the thing doesn't look like shit, right? And then exchange service that we're using. So ethereumprice.org is EP, and Wojtek's spreadsheet can be whatever you say, like the hero who made the spreadsheet. That could be a little line there. Exchange rate, and then exchange rate date, and the checkers should be checking those as well, just to make sure. And then you can see if it's off at all. We list that there. And that's important because then we can fix it in a future milestone. So yeah, that's and then notes, right? Just write a little note if you think it's worth it. So that's how the spreadsheet works. Any clarifying questions?
Yes. Sorry. Who puts the milestones here? Do we do that, or is that happening in your batch when you? You do? Okay.
I use a CSV file that's generated from Arthur's program, which I check with a Ropsten send.
What is it that you need to not worry about the Ropsten send? Because I can have it additional data very easily.
I need the data. I mean, I don't know if I could ever live without the Ropsten send, but I need the data to be generated from the parameters, not not from the data that generates the parameters. You know what I mean?
So you need to see the unpacked values alongside the packed values.
Yeah, I don't need to see the unpacked values. I need to know that the CSV file was derived from the packed values.
Well, the CSV file is derived from the on-chain data. So whatever's on the chain.
But then I have to trust that the program is packing correctly.
Well, it's going to do it the same every way, every time. But I understand.
We had rounding errors already, so. But we already did one test where it failed, where it didn't match the CSV. So I just, hey, I can't. Sorry, I just can't do it. If it fooled me once, shame on you. Or fool me twice, I'm not gonna get fooled again.
Well, it didn't go through because the program checks the summation.
But what I'm saying is the CSV file didn't match the packed parameters. So.
It's also a good sanity check.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't trust code. I got hacked for 50 million. You know, I can't.
Right.
PTS down, man.
Sorry, can we move to the proposal?
Yeah. Any other clarifying questions? Okay. Reaction rounds. Who wants to start?
I can start. I am in favor. Let's check this as much as we can until we get it right the first or second time. Wojtek.
Yeah, I think checking is important. I'm not sure if the postponing that we've been doing is justified, but that's
right
just
now.
my opinion. Go ahead with checking. Arthur.
I think that getting it right the first time all the way through is not enough. I think 2 or 3 times right all the way through would probably be ideal. I don't think we can invest too much work in double checking this, especially since as soon as it works, it just works, and we never have to think about this again, which is where I would like to get as quick as possible. All right, Oz.
You're muted, Oz.
Okay. So now that I'm seeing the spreadsheet and I kind of get a look at it, yeah, I agree that we need a process. I'm a little worried that this process doesn't seem, maybe it could be a little bit more streamlined, especially if we're going to use it more than once. This to me seems very much to fall within the product owner dev responsibility. So I think that Satya and Wojtek and Grace might be able to take this off your hands, Griff, to a major extent, you know, to make sure this goes through. But I don't know, just putting it out there. And yeah, I think that's all I had to offer. So let me pass it along to Alex.
I think that I agree with Arthur that we should check it a few times, even once it's confirmed working, just for as a secondary sanity check. And then once we get the couple of times done, then if we all agree, we can stop checking once we decide the code is more production level ready. Then with that, I'll go to Heather.
Well, I agree too with all. I think it's important checking. This is all. I think the spreadsheet is fine, so let's check it. So the next, maybe, yeah. Artie.
Yeah, I think especially the first time and first few times, at a minimum, it needs to be run through this. And I think it definitely, the delays are appropriate because there has been quite a few inconsistencies, and until everything's sorted out. I mean, ideally, this will be getting easier every week, but we're still working out the kinks. So yeah, I like the spreadsheet triple check. I think that's it.
Okay, I'm going to ask for Alex's feedback because Alex already actually, I like Oz's comment. I really am looking to offload everything. So Alex said that he'd be the point person for milestones. So maybe this can be Alex's baby. What do you think, Alex?
I think that sounds good to me.
Okay, so Alex is going to manage the spreadsheet and do the approvals, and you have to sign off to make sure this works, and also do kind of the roundabout, like, hey, this milestone isn't done, and I'll coordinate with him on that. So yeah, so triple checking has been implemented, or my amended proposal is Alex implements triple checking on milestones before any multi-send, big and multi-send transaction. Any objections? Sold! Okay, next one, quarterly meetup Barcelona. Who's this?
I think this was Chris. Oh, he's got a whole sheet here. I can read what he said. His tension is not entirely clear just yet now who will pay for what and whom. And his proposal is to divide the costs. He proposes that 4 circles pay for travel expenses, lodge, food, as this was foreseen in the budget, by at least product and comms budgets, I think he's talking about. And he says it's logical that we cover all costs for people in our circle who need to be there. Point 2 on his proposal is who can come. Everybody is welcome, but the budget is OFC limited. Not sure what that means. He proposes that I send a sheet to the 4 circle leads. Each lead adds for whom they can pay for food, lodging, and travel expenses. After they added their names, we can share in core team. People who want to join can add their names in circle. Circles might then even reach out proactively to say they will pay for lodging and or travel costs, all costs, expenses proposes milestones. That was his proposal intention. Any clarifying questions?
I kind of guess I have a clarifying one. I appreciate that Chris put this together, and I guess if someone can like spearhead this for him, I'm totally cool with it. But it seems a little. I mean, I get the intention, but now that I actually think about us going through reaction round to a piece of paper, I'm wondering if this is if this makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree to table it.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
my one concern with that is if we table this, this is time sensitive. So I agree that it doesn't make sense to have this try and go through without a representative. But I also think the sooner we get this to happen, the better.
Can you take on the proposal, Quasia?
Yeah,
Is that appropriate?
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll take this on. To me, this proposal makes sense. I think this is basically what we talked about in the last meeting. It's just a little more formalized, so I'll take it on.
Can you clarify the question? Can you restate the proposal?
Sure.
Oh, and Kai, can you take notes? I'll help too.
Yeah, okay, so each circle's responsible for figuring out what it is that they want to pay for and for whom they want to pay for those things. In order to achieve this, each circle will internally decide who they want to initially fund, and then after that decision has been made, community members can lobby the circles to see if any of their expenses could potentially be covered. Is that more clear?
Any clarifying questions?
Yeah, I have one. So did we settle that the meetup is 5th and 6th in Barcelona? Is it the one we're talking about, or we're talking in general?
It's going to be 4th and 5th, and I think that's the one we're talking about.
Any other clarifying questions? Okay, starting reactions. Anybody have reactions?
Yeah, I have a reaction. I really don't like the unfairness around flight. I really like giving the campaign lead a chance to decide whether or not it's worth it to pay for airfare for a representative to come or for a person to come. I do like manual inclusion, and in general, I think the governance campaign will probably end up spotting the bill for food and or at least for anyone who comes for food and lodging. I think the governance campaign would love to make sure that people who are contributing feel that to give it well enough that they can come to a conference, a meetup like that, that don't have to worry about the necessities of food and lodging. But travel, man, I hate paying for, like if someone is, in Brazil, for instance, to throw out Alan, and like he has a flight that's $3,000, that we need to like, that needs to be more of a discussion than just a blanket. We pay for travel costs because that has been a problem in the past. So that's the one thing I really don't like. I feel like let's just make everyone pay for their own airplanes. But in the end, that's up to each company. So other than that, yeah, in general, I think this is a campaign thing, and the campaign leads can coordinate a little bit on who they want to support with their campaign. So I in general like this proposal, as long as it's just campaign leads and it's not like setting major policies. How about Kai? I'll take those.
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually go along with you, Griff. There, I don't have anything to add. Oz?
Yeah, maybe I missed it. It sounds like it's just saying, hey, that the campaigns can do what they want to do when it comes to paying for people to come to travel, which I agree with. I guess this is just the more formalized way of saying it from last week, unless I'm missing something. But in general, it sounds like I agree with people being free to decide stuff for themselves. To Edu.
Yeah, well, in general, for example, meeting in Barcelona is easy for me, so it's not my problem right now. But I think that we have another problem, like go to Canada or other place. But in general, I agree with Griff, so it's fine for me. So next one, Wojtek.
Yeah, I knew that this problem is going to come when we were splitting the circles. So I do think that it's up to each circle to decide. That makes sense. However, what I'm sort of missing is any like mission of a meetup, because that helps to also decide, right? So that's sort of missing for me to decide. However, I'm going to say that for the campaign part, I do think that we should all meet. So for me, that makes sense. But yeah, so circles should pay, but I think that we should sort of state a purpose of a meetup. Who didn't go? RJ didn't go?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with circles. I mean, that's the whole point of circles, I think. And yeah, I guess that's all I'll say for now. Kai, did you go?
Yeah.
Alex, sorry.
So I think that maybe sorry, I'm getting my thoughts here. I think that airfare is a pretty restrictive price for people, especially if it's far away. So maybe some sort of assistance should be given. But I think that's also the point of the circle selecting the people that they want to come. And then if there's a community member that they feel should be there and lobbies for a circle to pay for them to be there for airfare, that they should be allowed to do that, because that's part of choosing who gets to go, because it's not just an open invite like, hey, everybody come and we'll put you on the list for covering some sort of expense. And for community members that are not on the list but still want to come entirely on their own dime, I think that's why the list exists, is so that they're not exactly covering just anybody that wants to come. They selectively choose who comes, and then important community members to that circle. And that's it for me.
I think that's everyone. I want to react a second time just to put some more information. I think the coordination cost seems really high around food and lodging. So maybe for meetups, we can make a policy that the governance just covers food and lodging. And I think I'm okay with that for the governance circle to reduce coordination costs. And then airfare is covered by, at least for any official sponsored meetup that the governance meetup will sponsor, then they'll cover it. But the airfare should be covered by the campaigns. And then the purpose of this meetup, well, we have a big issue with scaling, and the conference is actually going to be sponsored by Giveth, and we might need help running the conference a little bit, and we'll use it as a probably a place to drop swag and do stuff like that. So there'll be a purpose of getting Giveth people there to be around, and then it's and then it's also a very pertinent topic, which is scaling to us. So it just since we're running it, it's in Barcelona, and all those things. Those are kind of the purposes. Okay. So Arthur, amend and clarify.
Yeah. So the finished proposal is that governance will, well, here we can just put that back. Governance will cover basically all expenses other than travel. Travel expenses need to be determined by the circles on a case-by-case basis. If the circles don't determine to cover expenses for an individual, that individual can petition to have their travel covered by a circle.
Small objection, just food and lodging.
What did I say?
Once they're covered.
What did I say?
All expenses other than travel.
What else is there?
I don't know, but I don't want to be caught in that.
Okay, that's fair. Yep, I understand. Also, I think it's worth noting that it's always an option to do milestone-based coverage. So you could potentially split circles, but that's not necessary to put into this. It's just yeah. So any objections? All right, cool. Passed.
Okay.
Sorry, just the last one is Chris's team visibility, but I'd say we just table it until he's here.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I guess I'll do a quick review of what we did. We are having delays in the in payments. But the actual issue is in communication of payments, and Alex is going to take the lead to communicate what is going on with payments. And then we're going to do some legal research, and Sacha and Grace are going to attack that to see what kind of legal entity structures we may want to apply to potential campaigns. We have point 3 was we have different exchange rates, which has been a confusion point. And from now on, for the proposals that we're using for a new DApp, the reward DAO and the regular rewards are going to use the Ethereum price method and for everything in the past, but the milestones tomorrow that are to be made, they use the Voitex spreadsheet, which uses the Coinbase API, and so do expenses that have not been in the DApp already, in the old DApp. They will use the API that they'll use Coinbase, the sheet that Voitex made, for any expenses that have not ever been in a DApp yet. But the expenses and every milestone that has been in the DApp, in the old DApp, we will use the numbers that are in the old DApp. Okay, so those are the points there. And then triple checking QA QC is also going to be fall under Alex's push, and that will be required. That spreadsheet will be required to be filled out before any multi-sig or multi-send transaction. And for the governance circle has jumped on the grenade of coordinating and paying for lodging and food for any official meetup, but all other expenses, including airfare, need to be covered by the circles. And I think that's it. So let's close it out. Thanks for the great meeting, guys. Really appreciate everyone's patience. I'm sorry this was such a long meeting. I really need, if you guys help me out and tell me to shut up once in a while, I think we'll be better off. I'm so sorry. Let's go with RJ.
Yeah, it was a long meeting, but I think we decided some things that will help move these payments forward and make it more clear what's going on. So I'm excited about that. Edu.
Yes, a little bit long meeting, but I think it was awesome. A lot of important points was speak. So, well, I like to be part of this. So I pass to Alex.
All right. It's a great meeting. We got a lot of good stuff covered, and I'm glad to be helping out and relieving tensions for everybody with informing them on the process of where we're at and what we're doing with payments, so we can relieve that tension. And I'm going to try and get a roadmap, like in some sort of consumable form, either picture or some other way, out tomorrow after I get a little bit of rest and get a very clear idea. And then I'll get on more people for the milestone and double check. So that, I think, thanks guys. It's been a great meeting. And Wojtek.
Yeah, this was long, painful, but needed. Thanks, guys. Who didn't go? Oz?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys. One thing I forgot to say, and everyone is actually, I think the code looks really good from what I've been playing with it over the last month. And I don't really think of it in terms like, I don't think we have a lot of bugs or anything. I'm impressed with how good things are, but yeah, I just want to say I don't really feel like we're behind. It's like, yeah, we're meeting new challenges. We're making new processes as we're kind of going along here. But yeah, I guess that's to be expected. Sorry, I wish I'd said that more eloquently. Let me pass it on to Kai.
Thank you, guys. Great meeting. Because I forgot about it before, one small question, and it's a nice one. How many digits after the decimal can a milestone take? RJ? Do you know?
I don't think there's a limit. It's
18.
So
It uses
18
the
or whatever.
number. Go in strings.
Yeah, there's no limit.
Oh, okay.
The limit ends up being Google Sheets, but luckily that's why I post the weigh amount, because the weigh amount will show all the digits because it becomes a large number instead of having a decimal. But
Right.
Google Sheets, I think, drops off after 9.
And we store everything in Way as well, so there's no decimals actually stored. It's just converted in the UI.
Okay. Thanks. Has everybody gone? Edo has gone, yes. Arthur is left, missing.
Yeah, good meeting. Went well. Went smooth. Let's see. I think that's it, right?
That's it.
All right, cool.
Okay, awesome meeting, guys. Thank you so much. I love that you always stay a little late, Kai.
I think of questions. There was something. Oh, there's one thing we should stop the stream maybe.
Oh, damn. I love our secret streams at the end. Fine, I'll stop the stream.
It's not secret. No, it's not secret. No, it's actually just a little update about. I met Anton from Russia last weekend. I told you a little before, and it's really nice. He comes from a banking background. He's still in banking, and he has all these banking friends. And he wants to be an altruist. He's really. Russian politics sucks for him. It's too much nepotism, and he has all these friends and he wants to do good with money. And so they came up with their own DAC kind of that they are constructing.
Nice.
So, very interesting.
Do they
sorry?
Do they need to write off something on their taxes? Will they need a legal entity to donate to?
No, they love our nature. They are the one guy does. He's very open, and he likes progressive stuff and out of the box stuff. So not a problem for him. Yeah, about that, the United Nations, they used Ethereum to distribute the food tokens. For me. Yeah. For refugees, they used it as a system. I think they use. I have to research it. Anyway.
They use a private network.
Okay, but still, this is also no. I mean, the Ethereum Foundation is a company, but I'm looking for examples, and I think Bitcoin was the best one. Like there's all these core developers, and they have Bitcoin, and it's they're maintaining it. They're not in charge. For us, we're very young, but maybe leadership changes. After 10 years, might not, but because it's more of a personal thing, it's not so. But
I mean. I think they have a point that if the DApp team wants to be a legal entity, let's say that Giveth wanted to work with a legal entity, then, maybe I wouldn't be opposed to legal entities joining the system. I'm not opposed to that. But I just don't see any benefit to it at this stage or anywhere in the near future. I see so much benefit to being cool and not having a legal entity because we don't need it. It's I feel like we're solving a problem that doesn't exist.
I think it should be solved on the other side. The legal system needs to find a way to deal with DAOs.
Exactly. And that's a battle I'm fighting. And I don't know. I'm a special case. I have been outside of that system for too many years. So, I don't plan on getting into it by creating a DAC. That seems pretty ridiculous to me. I've had other opportunities to get into the legal system. I just don't know how that's gonna happen on this one.
I like that we are this. I really like that we are not. Everybody thinks the same. Would be maybe more interesting. If everybody was like, no, never. But we always have these, no matter if it's budget or organization, this a traditional project does it this way. Yeah, it's good. So actually, that brings me to a good point. I will do it in the chat even, but I pushed a major update to the wiki with new stuff, by Jen started a history of Giveth, which would be nice if you could take a look at it.
Okay.
It's on the wiki. It's pushed to the wiki already. It's under DAC. There's history because I don't want to get anything wrong from the beginning times. Maybe you can add even.
Yeah, I can add. Did Jen do it or did Yaler do it?
No, Jen. She made 3 things as a contributor for me to edit and put on the wiki. which I kind of
that she gets communication points or something like that.
Yeah. She should get communication.
Oh, Chris is going to come here. I can talk to Chris, but
Yeah,
I don't
told him. Yeah.
Oh, you told him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Yaler just interviewed me for a history of Giveth.
I saw it. I hadn't gotten around to watch it, but I saw, yeah.
Oh, don't watch it. It's so long and boring. I mean, actually, it's fun, and we talk shit about all sorts of other things. I talk about the DAO for too long. Honestly, I started giving the White Hat Group story, which I can't believe no one's really asked me to give them before, because I'm so ready to just be like, this crazy shit happened, man. So many crazy stories, and they're gonna die in my head if it doesn't.
No, you forget what happened to you. Yeah, you told me. No.
Yeah. I have to tell a story every so often, otherwise it's gonna disappear, man. But yeah, hey, when you get to Thailand? What?
1 week, exactly 1 week, not 6. So I will fly straight to Chiang Mai, I think, from Bangkok.
Let's see. Where
man, I can't wait. Yeah, it will be awesome. Awesome.
Look at these grains. It's so nice. The little folder. What? The grains.
Oh, the grains.
Storm.
Did you make new ones?
No, I just clicked grains, and there was my Thai spreadsheet. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
To see what.
The problem for me is that my Google Drive is really overloaded, and I think I'm not the only one. That's one thing. For me, the strongest suit in using Sandstorm is really security. Nobody. Yeah.
I think it's just, for me, it's props. Let's do it right. Let's do it open source. Let's contribute. I feel like one of Giveth's things is to contribute to open source and dog fooding. So it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And I want to find the guy who's doing Sandstorm, this Cloudflare guy. Do you know him?
No.
I was talking with this guy, and I want to. There's some guy who's paying for these servers, and I just want to throw him some ether. What we're doing? Oh, it's in this. You should be in this Wecken group, dude. Weckeneth. We're trying to do Trelleth with Wecken.
Nice. I mean, so many groups. There are too many already, but it sounds nice.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be.